But you got to think, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the go-to target. I mean, hell, Amon-Ra can catch. He can have the ball thrown to him 20 times in a game. And Jameson Williams, I mean, maybe 2 or 3 times in a game. And sometimes there were some games where he only had like 3 looks, period. What is going on? What is going on? I'm back with another one here on the I Know Fantasy Sport podcast. Wait, I Know Fantasy Sports podcast here. It's your boy, it's your host, Walt, and we're going to talk about 8 receivers. And I know we have more because, you know, running backs and receivers come a dime a dozen. And with those 2 positions, I mean, really, to be honest with you, to keep it 100, is they do come a dime a dozen. But you have some of those players that are consistent. You have some of those players that you know they're going to get the ball thrown to them 10, 12 times. You know that they're going to get 20, 25 carries in a game. So I don't know if you caught the last video, but I did the video on the 8 running backs to avoid in the 2025 fantasy football draft. But this video here, this one right here, there are 8 receivers, which there are more that we can avoid as well. But these particular receivers, in my opinion, are receivers that we should avoid or, you know, have second guesses on. We should have second thoughts on. You know what I'm saying? Because there are so many receivers and you never know when they're going to bang or bust any game of the week. However, I do have some receivers that, you know, it remains to be in the question. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, not all these players that I put on here, I would say do not pick up. However, there are some things that I had issues with these particular individuals. So let's dive on into it. The receiver 1, which they're not in any kind of order. It's not ranking from the first receiver that you should definitely avoid all the way down to the 8th receiver. Excuse me. So we're just going to go and I'm going to talk about these receivers. And I want you to post in the comment section. Which receivers are you not picking up whatsoever? And I'm not talking about like, you know, the 4th receiver on a team. I'm talking about, you know, receivers that are classified like 1 and 2 receivers, like the number 1 and number 2 receiver. If that number 1 goes down, the number 2 replaces that number 1. So without further ado, let's get started. But I like to ask for you to subscribe to the channel because we are getting started here. The NFL season is kicking off really soon. I mean, time is flying this year with all the craziness going on in the world. Time is flying, but here we go. First one, Tyreek Hill. Woo! Tyreek Hill, man, the cheetah. So my issue with Tyreek last year is that it took him a while to get into the end zone. And, you know, with Tua Tagovailoa being healthy and Jalen Waddle, hell, I don't know why. The Jalen's get me jacked up sometimes, but Jalen Waddle was like the number 1 receiver last year when we thought Tyreek was going to be the number 1 receiver. So in Fantasy Pros, I picked this information off of Fantasy Pros, a good website to go to. Tyreek Hill was ranked this year, going into this year, he's ranked 15 as the top 15th receiver. There's one more receiver that I'll talk about at the end of this that I would say to be reluctant to pick up. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. But like I said, you got to watch the whole video, though. You got to check out the whole video because we're going to have fun in the 2025 season. Hit the notification bell. Spread this information. But 959 receiving yards last year with 6 touchdowns. I believe it was like week 7 or 8 when he got his first touchdown. And then, you know, he had a game that he had maybe 2 touchdowns, things like that. But the cheetah's not the cheetah anymore, for real. I don't know. He's going to have something to prove for me this year. And also, you got to think about Tua's health. If Tua's not healthy, I don't know who the second string quarterback is or the third string like they had to go through last year. And we already know that was hell and high water. So, yeah, disappointing performance in 2024. He was a bust. I mean, I play PPR. I don't know about you guys, but I prefer PPR because I feel like it's more fun. You get rewarded more when a receiver catches the ball or when a running back catches the ball. And I'm going to have to be honest with you and tell you this. I played football all the way through up until college, and I played a couple years for college football. And it's not easy catching the ball when you got a defender getting ready to hit you. Sometimes it's not easy catching the ball at all because these quarterbacks got some arms on them. You know, you do a curl route and they throw that ball, it's coming in like fire. Like fire. But yeah, Tyreek Hill is one player that I am going to avoid in the 2025 fantasy football draft. The next person we're going to go to, Calvin Ridley. Woo! Calvin Ridley. So check this out. Calvin Ridley had a decent season with the Jacksonville Jaguars, even with a sometimey Trevor Lawrence. Fantasy Pro ranking 35. He had 1,017 receiving yards with 4 touchdowns last year. But this guy was inconsistent. He was really inconsistent. And I like to have consistency when it comes to my receivers and my running backs and my tight end and my quarterback and my kicker and defense. Of course, you can't always have that with the defense and your kicker. The hamstring go out, you know, it's problems. It's problems after that. But yeah, this guy was hit and miss. And, you know, with Will Levis being the quarterback last year, I just don't know. There's not a quarterback that I can really trust for the Tennessee Titans this year that's actually going to make sure that he is the number one, getting the ball thrown to him at least 12, 13 times a game. Hell, these quarterbacks are throwing the ball 30, 40, sometimes even 50 times in a game. And Calvin Ridley should be the number one that gets 13, 14, or 15 of those looks at him. However, we'll have to see with the quarterbacks this year when it comes to the Tennessee Titans. Moving on to the next one, number 3, Jameson Williams. Fantasy Pro Football ranking is number 30. This guy had 1,001 receiving yards last year. And I'm going to tell you, you know, 7 TDs. This guy was hit and miss last year also. But you got to think, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the go-to target. I mean, hell, Amon-Ra can catch. He can have the ball thrown to him 20 times in a game. And Jameson Williams, Jameis Winston, Jameson Williams, I mean, maybe 2 or 3 times in a game. And sometimes there were some games where he only had like 3 looks, period. And he's a boom or bust player. You might get him to catch a 65-yard reception, maybe even a touchdown to get in the end zone. And then after that, he'll have one more look at him. You know what I'm saying? So Jameson Williams is another player that I would not be picking up in the draft. I know he's ranked 30, but these receivers are interchangeable. There's probably maybe 10 receivers or 12 receivers in the league that is a number one straight up. Number one straight up. You don't have to worry about them. You know they're going to get yours, especially in the PPR league. Standard league sucks. I don't know. Tell me about what you guys think about the standard leagues. Next player is DJ Moore. Fantasy Pro ranking number 20, 966 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns last year. Now, I know him and Keenan Allen went over to the Chicago Bears, and they got Caleb Williams there. He's going to be a heck of a player, I hope. I hope that Caleb Williams will be a heck of a player. But Romo Duzane, or however you say the guy's name, was like the guy. He's the young guy. He's the young talent there. DJ Moore he's got to prove that he's going to be number one receiver. He's got to prove to me that he's going to be a number one receiver. And, you know, him and Keenan Allen are aging out. Like, I know DJ Moore, he was a beast for Carolina Panthers. Keenan Allen was a beast for the San Diego Chargers. Now they're the Los Angeles Chargers. But, you know, these two players were beasts in the previous teams that they played for. And then they get over to Chicago Bears. And I know Caleb, first year in the league, you know what I'm saying? He had to get his feet wet. But DJ Moore, he's got to prove something to me. Him and Keenan Allen. And these guys are not, they're no spring chickens. You know what I'm saying? They're no spring chickens. So we'll see who's going to be the number one between those 3 receivers there. Because you do have a 1, 2, and a 3 somewhat. We don't know what that 1 is yet. So DJ Moore is another one. But let's move on. Let's keep it rolling, y'all. But I tell you this. Hit the subscribe button and post in the comment section on which type of league that you play in. Standard league or PPR league. Next person, Devontae Adams. Devontae. No more Aaron Rodgers. Fantasy Pro ranking is number 18. 1,063 receiving yards with 8 touchdowns. He's no longer a number one receiver. Garrett Wilson is the guy. Like last year, usually when Devontae and Aaron Rodgers played together, Aaron Rodgers was throwing the ball to Devontae. It feels like 1,000 times when they played for the Packers. And I know, you know, he transitioned from the Las Vegas Raiders over to the New York Jets. Number one, Garrett Wilson was getting those looks that Devontae Adams used to get from Aaron Rodgers. And number two, Devontae Adams is getting older. I mean, this guy, I don't know how successful he's going to be this year, especially with the younger talent coming in too. So he's aging out to a certain aspect, but also another thing is his attitude, man. It just seems like, he has this crappy ass attitude, and that's something that's a red flag for me when it comes to players of a high caliber. He is a high caliber player, but he really honestly, his ranking should be lower than the 18. Next person, Jerry Jeudy. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Fantasy Pro rankings number 29. Jerry Jeudy had a decent season last year, 1,229 receiving yards with 4 touchdowns. I'm going to need you to get more in the end zone, Jerry. Plagued by injuries, and I know they picked up Shador Sanders, and they picked up Gabriel Dillon, 2 rookies. You know what I'm saying? But there's something that he has. The quarterback's got to prove to me. They have to prove to me that Jerry Jeudy is going to be that true number 1 receiver for the Cleveland Browns, for the Dogs, the Cleveland Browns. We're going to have to see about that. But that's happenstance. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to the game of football, there are players that we know that are going to be consistent, and then there are players that we know it's just no telling with them. Jerry Jeudy didn't have a bad game before receiving touchdowns. I need receivers to get like 10 and 11 touchdowns in the league in the season, man. Average almost 1 touchdown a game. You got 17 games now. Next person we're going to is Drake London. Drake London, Fantasy Pro ranking number 9. He had 1,271 receiving yards with 9 touchdowns. He needs to prove that he can stay healthy as well. Now, I know he had a good season last year, but Drake is one of those guys that's been plagued by injuries as well. And then also, if I'm not mistaken, I think Michael Penix is going to be the number 1 quarterback there. I think Kirk Cousins is gone. Let me ask Siri real quick. Hey, Siri. Who's the Atlanta Falcons quarterback? Let's hear what Siri has to say. Okay, Kirk Cousins is still there. So Drake is definitely the number 1 to go to. However, we just need to see how he's gonna do with Kirk for a second year, because Kirk did get over there last year, and there were games that Kirk balled, and then there were games that it's like, man, Kirk is really showing that he's gonna be out of here pretty soon. He's gonna throw up the hat and say he's retiring. Last but not least, and then like I said, I got 2 receivers that I want to talk about. One specifically I want to talk about that is he's the, I don't know if he hits the fountain of youth or whatnot, but there's one more receiver that I want to talk about that I should have put on here, but I was just thinking about these receivers in the time frame. And the last person, drum roll, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Fantasy Pro ranking number 12. He had 1,130 yards receiving with 6 touchdowns. He should be the number 1 now. He should be. There's no more DK. He's with the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's no more. No, excuse me. Is it? Yeah, I think he's with the Steelers. Yeah, I got to keep up with these trades. These trades be happening, man. Basketball season, football season, college football, college basketball. Time flies. But anyways, no more Geno Smith. Geno's with the Las Vegas Raiders. Sam Darnold, I called him the dark horse last year because he was balling out. Like, he really shocked me. From the teams that he was traded to and everything, he ended up finding himself with the Vikings. He balled out. Of course, they had Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. Throw them the ball, especially Justin Jefferson. When he's healthy, throw him the ball. He's catching it. It don't matter how many people's in front of him. Justin Jefferson's a beast. But Jackson Smith-Njigba, he is the number 1 now. But is he worth the ranking 12? Okay, I don't know. We'll have to see, man, because like I said, receivers and running back come a dime a dozen. But yeah, it is what it is. But listen. I got one more thing to talk about here. 2 things to talk about here. And then I'm landing my plane and I'm going to get myself ready for the next day. But the last person that I want to talk about is Michael Pittman Jr. Don't draft him. do not draft Michael Pittman. And post in the comment section, if you stuck with me this long, post in the comment section why I say do not draft him. And then another person I want to talk about, this individual, this is one that I will be talking about eventually again, possibly on the top receivers to pick up for the 2025 fantasy football draft, is Mike Evans. Let me tell you, this dude has been in the league for like 13 years, and every season he has 1,000 plus yards receiving. 1,000 plus yards receiving. That dude is the golden. Let me just get back from that. That dude, you got to put him on your lineup because he is going to get you. He's going to take care of you as long as he don't pull that hamstring. Anyways, this is your boy Walt from the I Know Fantasy Sports podcast. Subscribe to the channel, post in the comment section because we're going to have some fun this year. Peace.